All right, we are back in business, back online. We've got Jenalyn Rachac. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, correct.
Welcome, Jenalyn. I'm excited to have you on.
Hello, thanks for having me.
A pleasure, absolute pleasure. Well, let's get straight into it. So, Jenalyn, who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? So I'm Junalyn Rachac. I'm a mortgage broker. I really love helping people navigate the home loan world. I specialize in first home buyers, people moving from investment to owner occupier, and clients who might feel a bit lost or overwhelmed by the process.
Awesome.
Yes, that's about me.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, awesome. So, what? How long have you been a broker for?
Yeah, well, I started my franchise with Mortgage Choice in December last year. So finance, I had so background is in hospitality. I was a hotel manager previously. And just after COVID, throughout COVID, when everyone was not working, staying at home, I was working throughout. We had a Victoria Police COVID positive patients in the hotel. So long story short, I was burnt out, took a break, played badminton, and I met this guy who owned a brokerage. He had 7 brokers, and then we had a chat. He was like, so this is in 2020, 2021. He was like, we just started chatting. He said, what do you do? I was like, well, I'm in between jobs. He's like, you want to be a broker? That's how the broker came up and started. But my business,
Wow.
so just in December 2024 with my own franchise with Mortgage Choice, yes.
That's awesome. Okay, so you went from hospitality and then you got burnt by the COVID lockdowns and all you would have had, so you did all that, restriction policy, all that sort of stuff, and dealing with just the full-onness that happens when people got locked down, is that right? Quarantine. So was it a quarantine hotel? Was that what kind of?
No, we weren't. So we had a Victoria Police. I used to work for minor hotels, Oaks, in the city. So I was a hotel manager of Oaks and William. But our hotel was specifically for Victoria Police. We got contracted by the HHS. It wasn't a quarantine, but when there was a police that was COVID positive, then everyone was like, this is the time when everyone was like, it's the end of the world, everyone was panicking. But it wasn't a quarantine. We had another property that was specifically quarantined, so there's no mixture.
Wow. Okay. Cool. And that did it for you. You're like, that's it. No more hospo.
Yeah, look, I grew up. So I was born and bred hospitality. I grew up. So I was born and raised in the Philippines. Grew up. We helping my family. We had a little restaurant. So I was always, from a very young kid. It's always been service industry, hospitality. And then I moved to New Zealand when I was younger. I'm a citizen in New Zealand as well. Yeah, that's where I started my hotel journey. So I worked from, as a guest service agent, worked my way up, become a supervisor, duty manager, front office manager, and then hotel manager. I did sales in the hotel. So I've done it all in the hotel. So I was like, what's next?
Yeah.
Gotta try something else and challenge myself.
Wow. And so how have you found the transition from hotel management to mortgage broking?
Yeah, well, I guess hospitality taught me, to put people first, but I wanted a career where I could see the long-term impact of my work. I guess mortgage broking gave me that. The biggest mindset shift was moving from service in the moment to guiding someone through months of planning and decision making, and then human connection became just as important as numbers, really.
Wow, awesome. It's very, very similar. It's people oriented, right? So you're helping people in hospo, or you're helping people in finance. That's getting a loan. That's there's very, very clear synergies. That's really cool. It's really cool. So, you're probably nearly a year in. Is this a year in of writing loans, or were you doing that before the Mortgage Choice, or what was kind of the ramp up?
Well, when I was with the just after COVID, I joined a brokerage group where I was basically doing a BDM, like I was knocking on real estate agent doors. I was getting him leads, but I wasn't officially a broker. I didn't have I didn't do the diploma, so the owner was trying to get me to do it, but I was like, oh, I need a salary, like I've got a mortgage and stuff. So it's that from like having that set income to. But yeah, so official, yeah, it will be technically because December doesn't really count. It was Christmas, New Year, not people. So I say January, but yeah. So yeah, it's almost a year in. Yes.
How do you manage the different kinds of stresses? So like obviously in hospo, it's like if something happens, there's all hands on deck, putting out a figurative fire, I suppose you can say. Versus the stresses of mortgage brokering, trying to get a loan by settlement done and all that sort of stuff. How have you felt those stresses compare?
Yeah, I guess what I learned being in hospitality, I think just not react. You really need to have that emotional intelligence. When you don't react based on your emotions, and like in being in the hotel industry, I think, and from managing people, employees, I think I've honed that skills to just like, when it's so stressful, like, I'm just gotta, okay, take a deep breath, like, just having that, a second, take a deep breath and just not react right away. So with clients in mortgage broking, you get like, obviously it's a, it's a lifetime commitment or 30-year long term in, deadlines with documents and, settlement. So I get clients, just an example, a couple weeks ago, this first-home buyer, I was helping this couple, first-home buyers, so I was just chasing documents, and then he yelled at me on the phone, and I was like, I was taken aback, because, and then, because I was asking him for a Medicare document. He was like, he had a Vietnamese name. So I was like, but then again, like I just go back to how I was, how I acted. Listening skills is very important. You gotta just listen and just. It's not about customer is always right. It's not. It's just customer first. Just listen and then I think when he calmed down, actually called me back, and then he's realized, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was just so stressed. I hope you can take that. It's like, yeah, no, and I was like appreciative, like, he called me back, and it's so big of him. And I guess we all act, under pressure. I like when I was younger, I could say the same thing to me, like, when you just want to get things done, and you're like, you get so stressed, and you're not your normal you. You act out with your emotions, really.
Yeah, it's very gracious of you. You've got that, like you said, emotional intelligence, because it would be so easy to react in a way that's like, right, that's it, go find another broker or whatever, not dealing with that. And you've got that grit about you. You can take it, right? So that's pretty special.
Yeah, and fortunately it wasn't the phone, so he doesn't see my reaction too. So it was like just pause. I was like, and then but yeah, just not saying. I just like pause, silence, like, and I just listened to him. But obviously, and I was like, and first home buyers. So I think they were just nervous. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, first home buyer versus investor, very different, aren't they?
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely is a stressful time. I remember when I was buying my first home, and we were getting close to settlement, and it wasn't ready, and the conveyancer was stressing me out because she was like, "You're gonna have to pay this fine because it's not gonna make it in time." And I'm like, "I've done everything I can. Like, what's left?" And when it comes close to that deadline, which you can ask for an extension, which everyone forgets about. Everyone apparently forgets about that extension you can ask for. It's not as if the seller wants to take you to court. They want to sell the house,
Correct.
if it's nearly over the line, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why, it's important that like things that you can control, like what I can't control the deadlines, but maybe I can try and control, like maybe I can try and negotiate. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Yep.
So is it just you and you got part of the mortgage choice franchise? Is it just you in your area? Like, do you have help? Do you have another broker? Do you have VAs or anything else? Like, how do you kind of manage the whole end to end?
Yes. So in the area, there's actually quite like as a matter of fact, Hasi, he's based in Caroline Spring, but there's quite a few mortgage choice brokers in my allocation lead areas. Spring Bank, so that's Caroline Springs, Melton, and Sunshine. Yeah, so I guess in terms of support, I think at the end of the day, I'm self-employed. It's my own business, so you just gotta have to like just raise your hands, just ask questions. So with mortgage choice, we've got we've got our broker success program, where when you're a newbie, so we've got that support where you can ask questions, and then some experienced brokers will try and answer the question for you. But again, it's up to you. Like I've got this because I've always been so independent that I will try and resolve things on my own. Like I will try my own research, and then but then it could just be a phone call away. Like yesterday I just had that scenario and that's why yesterday was such a cool day. Got this file in front of me. I was like, I've never dealt with this one before. Like, what can I do? So, and then I was like, look, instead of me spending when my first few months, I would spend hours or days and days sitting in one file, just a phone call away.
That's great.
Someone that's great experience, years of experience, and then they gave me an answer. I was like, yeah, makes sense. And leverage your BDMs, the bank's BDMs. Just, give them a call.
That's brilliant. I love that. Cool. And so what's it like being like? I haven't really spoken to a mortgage broker on the podcast that's part of a franchise like Mortgage Choice or Aussie or something like that. And they got an awesome reputation. So they must really look after them. Look after their crew, their team.
Yeah. Yes, it is a big brand. 100%. They've got a good reputation. It's a big brand, and hence why I joined Mortgage Choice, because even though I had several months of experience working for a brokerage, but I wasn't a broker. So I think it's very important it's your brand. So having that Mortgage Choice brand, when I tell people I'm a Mortgage Choice franchise owner, it's like, oh, Mortgage Choice. They they right away they don't know any difference. They just think that Mortgage Choice, it's a reputable brand. So it does really help for marketing. Especially for someone if you're new in the finance industry.
Yeah, that is so true. I totally see how customers value that name recognition, and that trust comes along with it. Cool. Any curly scenarios? I mean, you've already told me one where someone abused you over the phone, but have you got any weird loan requests or weird kind of scenarios that you've dealt with?
Weird. I wouldn't. Let me think. Any weird? No, I wouldn't say weird, but great question. Maybe I haven't had anything that's weird, because any scenarios that come to me, like I've never. So I guess I'll make as an example. The file that came to me yesterday. So this couple, they're currently. It was weird to me because I haven't done it. So it was the bridging loan.
Yep.
They want to refinance a bridging loan that's expiring, because they couldn't sell the property for over 12 months. But so it was weird because why would you, how would I do this? And so I know it's I don't think
that's a different one.
To be honest, I don't think I've had any. Yeah, it's I guess it will come to me, and again, it's only been a year, so
there'll be plenty, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or but from I guess a colleague, another broker friend, mortgage choice broker, a weird, maybe I would say weird, because he asked a question in our group chat. Couple wanting to purchase a property, but the parents are helping them for the deposit, but then ask like what happened, put something in the contract that if they divorce,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of separation cases, if they will divorce, my son will get most of it.
Yeah.
And then he put that question. I was like, so that for me is like, oh, how do we do that?
That's
How
always
how can we predict
Yeah.
that?
Man.
Because unfortunately lately there's I've had I've been a client. She reached out. She wanted to buy an investment property, and then a few months later she reached out telling me, me and my husband she's pregnant, separating. How do I do this? So yeah, there's a lot of separation cases, unfortunately. Hence why, when parents are helping couple and then the parents put more, and then, yeah, they're a bit wary that it's going to happen in the future. But how can you predict that, and how can you stop that?
Yeah. Wow, man. It gets complicated. That gets complicated. Yeah. Yeah, I spoke to a broker not too long ago where she deals mainly in separation cases, like helping people get a loan that have
Yeah,
like
it's a niche. Exactly. That's like a
yeah.
niche.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So I imagine that would be complicated because they've got, you'd imagine a husband and wife got a house together, they separate, and then what they have to do is like sell the house, take the equity, and then go try to find a loan based on the income and all that. And I'm sure there's probably some government grant schemes out there that are probably favorable to those circumstances.
Yeah, So majority, like the client that I was dealing with, so we had to do a bridging loan for it, but providing that, if you can service it on your own income. But yeah, it can get complicated, especially if the couple and one say the wife wasn't working and there's no income, and then they wanna so it can this is when it can get complex.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a couple of scenarios I'm thinking through. I probably don't need to repeat, but I've seen some in my family alone where you've got layers of guarantors, and then separation, and then who contributed most to the home loan. So who gets the half of this? I'm sure that's a wills and estates question anyway. But
Yes.
but I'll put that in my next podcast called The Wills and Estates Diary of the Wills and Estates Broker. No, that's cool. So, all right, that's really good. So, what do you think? Like today, in today's day and age, then we're heading in come to the end of 2025. We've had like this first homeowner 5% deposit scheme. I suspect most of your inquiries coming through at the moment are first home buyers.
Yeah, that's correct. So, unfortunately in Victoria, and I think, because of the land tax, and there's not many investors. And this is, when we just had our peer-to-peer session just last week with the mortgage choice franchise owners, and then there are a lot of experience. So it's hearing their feedback, because being in the industry for how many years. And so my clients at the moment, the last as an example, this month alone, I actually submitted 6 first home buyers applicants.
Wow.
Just getting free approvals. It's the best time if you're first home, young couple, you've got 5% deposit. And it's always because I know I play badminton as a hobby, so I play. But I always, because I play with the younger crowd, and so and I have a chat with them. It's like, and then I'll always slide. Like, what do you do? And then once we have the conversation, it's like, we're currently renting, and then I'll slide that. It's like, just need 5%, and it's the best time because I think the market has softened based on what I've seen. Like I own a couple investment properties myself, but and when I first bought my first home, I had to pay LMI. Now, with the first home guarantee scheme, you just need 5%. You don't have to pay LMI. And there's even lenders now, like Bank as an example, just announced yesterday, as of 30th, so 30th was yesterday, 90% LVR, there's no LMI. And, if you're a medical professional or a teacher, so there's a lot of help out there that, will help you get in the market sooner.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
that's the myth. You don't need 20%.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting subject around 20% and LMI because, like, LMI, lenders mortgage insurance, I'm no banker or broker, so I could be talking rubbish, but was obviously a security for the bank, but an accountability for the customer too, right? So like that 20% really was to make sure that they could contribute something before they go into this big commitment. I suspect, right? But today's day and age, property is moving so crazy. I mean, it's always been crazy in Australia. But just getting in is like, that's the win.
Correct. And that's what I tell my clients. Just get in. You can always rent, for the clients, even friends, badminton friends that I have, they're renting, like, just get in the market, and you can always rent your bedrooms as well. Like, you're renting now.
Exactly. You can make it work.
Yeah, you can make it work 100%. And again, I'm a first hand. I was a single income, it was, but I guess, this is when my first house in Melton, so Thornhill Park,
Nice.
just 5%. But yeah, I made it my first year. I had a tenant. My room was rented out just so I could, and then the equity, grew, and then I bought my second one, and then my third one on the way.
Oh, woohoo! That's awesome. That's awesome. What kind of areas? So, do you buy when you buy? Do you mind me asking about your investment?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. When you buy like investment properties now, you've got experience in all different kinds of property areas now. Do you look in the Melton, the west suburbs area, something that you can keep an eye on, or do you you don't mind, you just wherever you think it's going to grow?
Look, I made some mistakes. I guess, my advice for people actually, because I've learned from my mistakes. I've lost a deposit because I put a deposit out of emotion. Like, I really like the area. You really need to do your own research. You need to do, or there's buyers agents.
Yeah, they're great.
If you want to invest, you want to go in a area where there's rental yield is high, and the trend is the market that goes up. It's not oversupply area, but from experience, my properties actually, it's funny because it was where my jobs were. Well, the Thornhill was I used to live in the Gold Coast. So from New Zealand, I was still in the hotels. I was transferred. I was offered a job to move to Australia. I lived in Townsville, and then the Gold Coast. But I was moving around so much. So when I moved here in Melbourne I was transferred here. I was offered a promotion, Melbourne, in the CBD. I was an assistant GM. I was like, I'm moving so much. Like, I have no home. Like, but yeah. So, and then it just so happened that I was talking. Like, I think it was on Facebook where I found this ad about Black land, and I went and and I lived there. So it wasn't an investment first. I lived there, and then I was headhunted to run 2 small motels in Gippsland, and I lived there in Gippsland as well for a year, and I bought a property there. So it was like, instead of me renting, I lived there, and then once I had to move, then now it's rented out. So at the moment, I'm rent vesting. So
That's awesome.
I'm renting. So I live in Sunshine, closer to everything, closer to the city when I meet clients. So I'm in, it's Thornhill. It's a bit, it's 40, 50 minutes drive, an hour and 20, traffic to the city. But yeah, so I'm rent vesting at the moment. But yeah, no, my advice for people that want to invest, do your research. Don't just, even us mortgage brokers, we can recommend, we've got referral partners. Or we can recommend you a good buyer's agent or a real estate agent that will have some numbers that and don't just buy. It's like, oh, it has which I did, like, oh, it has like a palm tree in the front, or like it's But yeah, do your research before getting in the investment.
Yeah, that's great. That's so cool. Oh man, so many things to unpack. I love a buyer's agent. I use a buyer's agent for my property in Townsville, and I
You have a property in
definitely,
Townsville. There you
yeah,
go.
little duplex. It's doing okay. Yeah, pretty happy with it.
Very good.
Yeah. So buyer's agent got me that place, and I think we got it for 525, and that was in March 2023, I think. So it's doing okay now, and the yield is around 8%. So really okay. But the buyer's agent, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Like, not that I'm, some people like doing their own research,
Yeah.
and some people enjoy getting into core logic and all that, and it's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather someone tell me. So I was pretty happy with that. But that's cool. So there's a difference between buying emotionally as a homeowner and then buying logically as an investor, and then rent investing. I wish I rent invested because we moved a couple of times and you get stung with stamp duty and buying and selling costs and all that sort of stuff. And unless you've got your dream home, me personally, I would still be rent investing today if I was smarter, because just having that flexibility is really cool, and you've got the properties in the right locations doing their thing, growing, you're building your portfolio, and you can live where you want and not have the liability, at the same time. So, yeah.
Yeah, look, it works for some people, and for some people it doesn't. Obviously, like especially if you've got a big family, and
For sure.
just wanna stick in the suburb, and investing it's not you can live in the city, and if you want to buy properties in suburbs, farther from the city.
So good.
So I've got friends that they've been rent investing. They're living in a penthouse in the city. Apartments, and they've got like multiple properties everywhere, but they've been renting, but it works for them. For some people it works for them, for some people it's not. So you really need to, I guess, understand the why you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's pros and cons, right? You might get really fed up with not being able to hang a painting up on the wall because you're renting and not have that freedom of doing that, right? So there's definitely pros and cons, but that's cool. What else we got here? I've got some questions for you. Here's a good one. Here's what I love. I love asking people on the podcast about this, and you probably haven't experienced it yet because it often comes a bit later. But clawbacks, have you dealt with any clawbacks yet, or you got a kind of a sober reality and insight to your clawbacks that may or may not happen in the future?
Look, I hear about this a lot, but no, fortunately, no, that's good. But look, you just gotta, you never overpromise, transparency. And again, in this mortgage broking, it's actually it's a relationship job. It's a relationship job. I think, you just gotta check in with them, and and really make them feel that you're there for them. I actually say to them, like, I work. Remember, I worked, like this guy that yelled at me. I was like, I work for you. I don't work for the bank. So remember this.
That's right.
I'll do whatever I can to get your loan approved. But so you just making them feel heard, and making them feel that I'm you're there for them, and it's not just the numbers.
Yeah, that is why. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, no, go ahead. But I'm saying no clawback. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That is why I love mortgage brokers, because of what you do. Like, you work for the buyer, not for the bank, and it keeps the banks honest too. And that's what I love about it, because it keeps the rates competitive. And some people are like, what's the point of a mortgage broker? Just go to the bank. It's like, bro, you don't have to do any of the work, and you don't pay them. Like,
correct.
What are you complaining about? Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend just yesterday. Because I was talking about clawbacks, because I was talking about nurturing campaigns. So like, when how do you continue to have strong relationships with lots of people on your book? And obviously nurturing campaigns can help do that. And I was talking to him about it. He said, yeah, actually, I haven't heard anything from my broker in 2 years, and I think I'm due to refinance. I'm like, yeah, man, that's like so common. Like, and I said, I know a couple of brokers, but that's like so common that the brokers will just neglect they get them through the door, they get the settlement, they get it all, completed, and then it's such an emotional journey buying your first home that you've become emotionally attached to this broker somehow, and for them to kind of forget you is, that's like a cut, and then the next person that walks past and says, I've just become a broker, you go, oh, well, I'll support you and I like you and we'll do a refinance with you or something like that. It's just so easy for them to,
Yeah, it is hard as well. Like, obviously, mortgage brokers, it's you can get busy. Your day can just, because you're dealing with, so many things unless you've got a big team, even with a big team. So, for example, the client that came to me yesterday, the reason why she came to me, she's been working with this broker for the last 6 months. She came to me because the broker apparently hasn't been responsive. But she's been dealing with this broker. This is the bridging loan for the last few years. But she's on holiday. But sometimes, I guess, that's why it's important that you have that, like just your I guess your CRM, your marketing, you've got it's scheduled that you're sending at least an email to just, what's 6 months check-in, or like, that's already set in your account, because it can get busy and you'll forget.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of clients, so it can easily be forgotten. But look, with AI nowadays, you've got the automate that, your business that there's so many things that you can automate without having to manually do everything on your own.
Yeah, and that's key, isn't it? Just setting up automations, and I think that's plenty. Like even automations of tasks to like remind you to call that person.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great automation. Hey, it's been 6 months. Give them a call. Their birthday's due next week. Maybe do a rate check. Something like that. I don't know. Like, I'm not a mortgage broker, but I just think about the customer, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I love a call from a broker. Maybe I should call my broker.
But it is, it's quite common, and I hear this a lot as well. I hear this a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if you had your time back and knowing what you know now, going through, getting yelled at and going through like all these, stressful busyness of it all, would you say to yourself, yep, get out of hospo, get into brokering if you could go back in time?
100%, yes.
Yeah, you love it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it has its challenges, but probably, woken up happier as well. But
That's
look,
awesome.
I'm gonna be honest. Like it's a stressful job. It can be a stressful job. Well, look, I left my previous role was a GM with this student accommodation. It was quite, I was unhappy. It was stressful because you're preparing for like, what to report to your bosses, and then, your bosses disagree. And like, I just want to do it for myself. And then you become a business owner, like, you and I, and then it's a lot more stressful. At the end of the day, I'd rather distress because it's for me. It's not for someone else's business.
Yeah.
But I think just a time to just remember to like that work-life balance. I think you gotta set a goal as well. Like, do I need this much clients? Or as an example, the last few weeks, because I've got 6 clients, I was like smashing 2, and I was just last week I was like, I'm just sleeping in, like, sleeping longer, and like my body is just.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I asked ChatGPT, I was like, I was like, why am I sleeping? And then ChatGPT like, what have you been feeling lately? I was like, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. But yeah, it's just time, take, time for yourself, like don't forget to look after yourself. Take, take a day off. And I guess if you're self-employed, you can do that with, just, close my laptop, go somewhere, don't bring my laptop, turn up my phone, silent, and and you make the choice. But yeah, it is, it's it's a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, yeah, it's a lot harder than I thought. Like, when I first started, I had this business plan with these numbers, but no, it's not. It's not as easy as people think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make too, and you have to love people, right? And you have to love, what you're doing. You have the purpose behind it, because some people may think that they can get into brokering and that they can see the opportunity and go, yep, this is a good business, I'm going to do this, and not realise what they've got themselves into and go, well, why am I doing it? But you've got a strong why, right? You're building a business and you care for people. You've got that servanthood kind of nature about you. So that can help you reflect on through the chaos. You're like, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, really understanding the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What are your goals? What is it that you want? Do you want to become financially free, or you're just happy working for someone? And regardless what it is, stress is always going to be there. It's and I guess it's how you deal with it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I was thinking, if you ever changed your business name, you should call it the Badminton Broker. Because
I wouldn't mind that.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's cool. So, what about any kind of clients, prospects, avatars that you wouldn't want to work with? Is there any kind of? I remember one broker saying to me, "I've got a no douche policy. I'm not going to write loans for douches." And it made me think, like, do you have a criteria of kind of people you don't want to deal with?
Yeah, and this is when broking is hard, because I think, look, mortgage broking, it's such a saturated industry now. And I think some clients, think that it's not, we do this is our time, because it's free to them. But then clients, they shop around, they talk to multiple brokers, and they get us to, say, do pre-approvals, but they're getting different brokers to do it for them. And then, and that's why some brokers, they start charging clients, before it's that commitment fee, because, but for me, yeah. So I guess that, look, I'm only new in this journey, but I've said no to clients already. Yeah, so I was talking to one of the other brokers at the peer-to-peer session, like this guy, 60-year-old, like he's got multiple investment properties. He wants to refinance to a 30-year loan term, but he was very adamant and he wouldn't listen to me. And I was like, do it yourself. I didn't say it exactly, but like very cocky, like, and I guess, maybe because I sounded younger than him, but he's like very cocky and just wouldn't, like, look, if you, go do it yourself. If if you think you know more than I do, I'm happy for you to go somewhere else. But yes,
fair enough too. Fair enough.
You actually can feel as well, like when some clients are. I think the more you deal with the clients, the more you like, oh, this person's just shopping around. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
you can sense it. I guess that's why you love the first homeowners, right? It's that journey, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. First homeowners, yes, and investors as well. But again, it's from your first conversation. I think you can already tell the difference, and that's why, I will invite clients, to come. I work in a co-working space here in Sunshine. Like I'll meet them in person, and if they even just sending them the fact find, you can tell if they're really serious. Like they'll fill out what you're asking. If you ask them for something, they'll so responsive. And you ask them, like, come in the office for a meeting, they show up. So yeah, but the ones that I don't mind. I guess it is part of our job that we sometimes have to chase them. But if I keep chasing you and you won't even answer, then like I'd rather focus my time and energy with someone that actually needs me, than chasing someone, like if they're still shopping around, weighing their options of whose broker they're gonna work with.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Your advice to anyone wanting to be a broker?
Yeah, well, I guess care more than you think you need to. Knowledge is
Cool.
vital, but empathy, patience, and consistency set you apart.
Wow, that is actually gold. That is actually gold. I've had brokers say, yeah, get your systems in place, yeah, get your marketing understand, maybe do a transition from work life, and you're like, care more than you think you need to. I love that. Yeah, I love that.
And I guess that's, yeah, and this is like for me personally, like I think I always wear my heart on my sleeves, and I guess, yeah, that also could be my culture as well. We're people. I think so if you work with me, you're in good hands, but it sometimes also can be, that's why I think I can be emotional too, and that's why emotional intelligence is something that I have to work on, because I do care a lot, when have sleepless nights, because how do I just want to help this person, but I think care more than you need to, and I think, yeah, it will go a long way, and clients will feel it.
I love that. I've got other questions here, but I think I'd rather finish off on that. That's beautiful. So where can people find you? So Mortgage Choice, Junalyn Rachac, are you on Insta, are you on Facebook? I mean, obviously we'll link everything.
Yeah, so I've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I've got my Google business profile as well. Yeah, and you can find me in the badminton court.
Yeah, the badminton broker. I love it. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Oh, actually, when you said Google Business Profile, just got a quick question. Do you know, like, how effective is the Google Business Profile for you as in terms of your marketing? Like, do you get calls from people who just search broker near me and they click on a Mortgage Choice and there you are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, like my first few months, I think it's very important. It's your, you are your brand. I think just having social media is very important, and even your LinkedIn. But yeah, Google 100%. Clients, again, mortgage broking is such a saturated. People will see your credentials. People will look at what's your background, and I think if they will search Google your name, it comes up. You've helped these people, and it's like, oh, I have similar situation, and then they'll come to you. But yeah, no, 100% Google reviews. I think it's very important in our industry, or any business owners, any businesses.
Completely agree with that. That is so special. That's like one of the things that AI is not going to be able to disrupt easily is reputation and reviews.
Correct.
Whereas, you've got technical SEO with websites, people fighting for backlinks and keywords and all this, and you've got ads, and AI is disrupting that space, and then you've got, different kinds of marketing that AI is disrupting, but local SEO, where people see your reviews, that can't be disrupted. That is just so gold.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Me too. This is my like I said, this is my first podcast and first of many, I hope.
Well, I've got to get back on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it with more experience in my belt. Definitely.
Yeah,
Maybe I can tell you some weird scenarios then.
100%. When you encounter a weird scenario, just shoot me a text and let's get on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Junalyn. We'll link everything in the description of the show notes so people can find you. And really appreciate you jumping on.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.